Yeah,
Hello,
sure.
Aspies, and welcome to Inside the Asperger Studios. I'm Reed Miles, and I'm joined with Dr. Bahat. Welcome to the show, Doctor.
Thank you for having me, Mike. Reed, right? Reed.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyways, tell me, how did someone who is a doctor in urology get into the field of meditation, especially intermediate silence?
Well, intermittent silence is something I termed, but uh, I know many people are ask this question as if I shouldn't be into meditation. Whereas I think, like it's a journey that helps being a good doctor or good anything, any profession. I have been doing it for ever since my childhood. Became more intense when I entered medical school. So I've had a parallel journey. One side was medicine, and the other side meditation, and I feel I enjoyed both journey, and you can be good at both.
That's so true in so many ways. I mean, what prompted you to create your own app?
It's a uh, story like sometimes things just happen one after the other. Um, I was talking to somebody I know. She's a psychologist, has written multiple books, and she does a lot of work in anxiety field. And she was saying, once you put out the energy out there, things start happening. I kind of like that idea because I wrote a book, Journey from Life to Life. Then I was started giving some book talks, author talks, which is commonly practiced. It's like in different libraries, and it was so informative for myself. I learned a lot. I mean, I met people who have done a lot of work in different fields who came to listen to me and shared their thing. And in that process, this whole idea of doing a workshop came, and we organized a workshop, 1 day workshop. But then at that time in March, as we all know, Corona happened, and we had to cancel our workshop. But we did some virtual workshops of meditation, and a whole we had a team of 6 members who worked on it, and people received it very well. So then the idea of app came, and then slowly progressed into having an app, which I think is a great uh, app. Right now we are making some more improvements, so that's the story. But
Yeah, I have your app, and I had recently installed it to see what it's like, and it's very interesting, and I do use it because I am a firm believer that a quiet mind is a good mind because it helps you focus in life and helps you get through your day.
um, yeah, I mean that's a good term, quiet mind. I mean, although in a way it's contradiction because you cannot quiet your mind, but yeah, that space is good. The space of silence or the inner universe that we all have. That's a good place to be. It's just very comforting, very, and you can come out refreshed rather than just um, it's not just an empty journey to some emptiness. It is a journey to a place. I often say that if you practice intermittent silence, and believe it or not, I mean it's true that all meditations happen when you are silent. I mean, the guided meditation takes to a point and bring back, or when you breathe in, breathing meditation, the meditation, actual meditation, happens in silence.
Hmm.
It's like sleep. You do a lot of things for sleep. You switch off the light, you lie down, you cover yourself with a bed sheet or a comforter depending on what the temperature is. But that's not sleep. That's just getting you to a place where sleep happens. The same way meditation, you prepare, you do a lot of preparation, but when meditation happens, it's like, something happens. You cannot make it happen.
It's so true. Now, can meditation be beneficial for sleep?
Um, I'm hesitating because when you start doing meditation, sometimes your sleep time may go, it's like instead of 8 hours, you may sleep 6 hours, but the quality of sleep changes. That's a much better sleep, much profound, much more refreshing. Does that answer your question?
That does. Now, can your form of meditation, the intermediate science silence, can that help with people who have like ADHD? Can it help quiet their minds to the point where they're able to focus more thoroughly on things?
So, intermittent silence, or most of the meditation that we talk about, it's some of them are traditional, but intermittent silence is some package that I created. Uh, and Instead of saying whether it will help people in their medical mental issues or problems, or whether it is ADHD or any other thing, I like to think of it like energy.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, it can give you more energy, and the higher the energy, your higher the energy level you have, the more peaceful you are. And the lower the energy level that you have, more irritable you are.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, that's the it's like physical fitness. When you exercise, you generally feel well, right? I mean,
Yeah.
your health is better. The same way, when you do meditation, it's a way of conserving energy, creating energy, and then sharing that, and channeling that energy. We are all born, so the app has got, you might have seen the category body, mind, flame.
Yes.
So body, mind, everybody knows, like, and most of the meditation or most of the talks, at least in the West, centers on body mind balance, or how to make it, quieten
Mm-hmm.
your mind. This one focuses more on the flame, which is flame of consciousness. So we all have a flame of consciousness. We all have an individual consciousness, apart from being the big consciousness. And the way you can think about it is like a space. When you say space, it's the space under the blue sky and beyond, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hyperspace or Star Wars kind of a galaxy, Milky Way. You don't think of your house as a individual space, but that's what it is. That's the space that you can control the temperature, you can control the humidity, you can control what you put in that space. So, the same way, there is the big consciousness, but there is also your own individual consciousness, that you are born with different sizes of the flame. And that is where I think if you work on that, if that, you know, level is low, you are more likely to be living at a lower energy level, more prone to depression, more prone to ADHD, and all that. So if you can work on that, which you can, at least that's our concept here. So raising your energy level, raising your, like, physical health better, you live better. The same way, if your flame health is better, you know everything else follows.
That is very interesting. I had some concept of the fact that the more energy you have, the better you feel. It's like the more you sleep, the better you feel. The less you sleep, like you said, the irritable you get.
Yeah.
Now, what do you tell someone who is having problems like getting into that meditative state, who can't like just focus on their breathing and just can't get right into the rhythm of it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a simple answer. And intermittent silence has 4 steps we can go into. The simple answer is practice. It's like saying that you go to do treadmill or you go to weight lift, and you can't lift 200 pounds the first day, or you go to play tennis and you can't hit the ball. I mean, the only
Mm-hmm.
way is practice. So even this one, the way I recommend that, do it 10 minutes a day and do it at the same time and the same place. In the beginning, in the first time, silence, I mean, intermittent silence is being, it's like just silent, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's harder, it's uncomfortable silence in the beginning. You can do guided meditation for 2 hours, no problem. But just being with yourself, we are not used to it. You start thinking, when is that 10 minutes going to be over? But once you keep through it, the place you go in and the space that is there, it's so beautiful. In a way, you are going inside the source. And many people do call it source. I mean, Tao people call it source. You go to the source, find the force, feel the force, use the force, and bring the force with you. So it's like, I often like to say, it's like a Star Wars, let the force be with you.
I know when I meditate, I'm able to differentiate thoughts that come into my head and just let them go. And but there are some times where I realize I get stuck on the thought, and then moments later I realize I'm stuck on it, and I just let it go. Now, my other question to you, is there a proper positioning when you're meditating, sitting versus laying down? Which do you prefer?
So sitting is a preferred position, um, and with your back straight, neck straight. If you are going to do, if you are going to meditate for longer time, you should probably have a back support, because then you can keep it straight and not hunch back. So, and there is a reason for that. I mean, well, at least a scientific reason that is given for that is, if the gravity works least when you are straight. If you are hunched, the gravity works more on you, and gravity and grace work again. It's like grace goes up, gravity pulls you down. And in meditation, any meditation, that's you're trying to move up. And that's one of the things about calling it a flame, because flame goes up, not pulling down. So it's kind of symbolic as well. That's the position. Then there is also a suggestion, and I suggest that as well, that you sit on a non-conducting surface, so that the energy is conserved. And then the hands usually, one palm over the other, it's like this, so that the energy can circulate, you know,
Mm-hmm.
inside you. And you close your eyes, which is also conserving energy. Um, so all these are conserving energy, and then the meditation creates energy. It's interesting you talked about the thought, what to do with the thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
So let me go through the 4 steps of intermittent silence. Then, thought is one of them. So the first step is you close your mouth. When you close your mouth, you are not communicating with outside world. You are not working on expression or communication. All that is not happening, and that area of the brain that works on that is gets rested. Those cells are thanking you. And then the second one is close your eyes, which is not just the visual work, but also the observation that your brain processes all that. All that gets rested. So these two are important ones to think about, because it also works for in your favor when you turn that observation inwards. The third one is silent listening. So any sound that is around you, you just let it pass by and not make judgments, or not start judging or processing those sound waves. Just let it go. And because you can't control the sound outside, so you just let it pass through. And the same with thoughts, as you mentioned. So the thoughts, let it pass by. If you get attached to it, no problem. When you remember, like you said, you just go back to letting it pass by. The one thing important here, and I have created a little story about it, is the let me tell you the story, about Mr. Thinker, Mr. Thinker or Professor Thinker. He's a professor in one of the Ivy League, you know, school, and he wants to learn meditation and how to deal with thoughts. And everybody tells him, let it pass by like the traffic going on a highway. So he said, okay, I'll test it out. So he goes on, Mass Pike or some 3-lane highway in USA, and stands in the middle of the road and says, okay, let me just watch the traffic. But it doesn't work for him because he's always, like trying to dodge big cars or small cars or 18 wheelers. He's picked up by police, and then he had to promise that he won't do it again. So this story just tries to say that a professor is not going to do that. That's not an experiment you want to do. But that's what we do when we talk about thoughts. We stand in the middle of the thought and try to dodge it.
Mm.
And that's not what you want to do, because thoughts are not going to go away. Mind is should be called minding. It's just a continuous process. So it's not going to get quiet and it's not going to go away. You can move away from that. You can move away from the mind, like you can move away from the traffic. Turn your back and just let the traffic is still going. Your thoughts will still continue to go. And the struggle for many people is they want to focus it or they want to quieten it. And that's what happens when you keep doing it for some time, is new doors open, new energies arise, and suddenly they take you away. Uh, and you feel like goosebumps. The energy is real energy that you can have. You have done meditation, you must have felt some strange
Oh
things
yeah,
happen to you that you never know what is going to happen, which time. It's not the same each time. And that is when it happens. Like we said, sleep happens, meditation happens. You are just preparing yourself in allowing it to happen.
interesting. Very interesting. Now, is there a proper way to breathe when meditating? Regular versus deep breathing?
Yeah, so in intermittent silence, breathing doesn't come into picture, but there is a meditation on the app. If you have the app, it's called Vipassana, and that one is a well guided breathing meditation. Did you find it?
Yeah, I have it up.
Yeah, so Vipassana is the way, I mean, there are big retreats on Vipassana, or, these breathing meditations, 10-day retreats, 7-day retreats, but I have made it a little simple. So there is a um, meditation there on Vipassana. And let me explain to you, that is not in the app itself. Is There is a guided one. There is one with my guidance and tells you how to breathe, and and then breathe in and breathe out. And then there is a gap between breathing in and out, and breathing out and in, there is a gap as well. And after you have done with my words or guidance, then you try to do without those guidance. And there is an audio there with just music. So you try it with my voice and music, then you try it just with the music. It's about half an hour. And it's half hour is because first 10-15 minutes goes in changing the direction, because we are always going out. So when you start going in the first 5-10 minutes, nothing happens. I mean, basically, as you mentioned, you are just changing the direction. Your thoughts are coming. Sometimes you get attached, but you persist that, and then things start opening up. So after you have done with guidance, then with just music, then you do nothing, no music, no guidance, just watch the breathing. The same, but by now you have learned and practiced how to do that. But do it in a quiet place. And the fourth one in the progression, you are at the airport, you sit down and just close your eyes, and by now you have learned not to ignore the sound outside, but you can still go inside and be watchful of everything that's happening around you. It really becomes very easy to get in once you have practiced in that progression. And the sound outside, nothing is a distraction in this meditation, or everything can be treated as if it is helping you. So that's some people use the word um, relaxation in action or relax in action.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, and that's in the improved version, we will have all that described, like a stepwise.
Now, how important would you say meditation is for the average person?
I think it's similar to doing exercise. You can say you can live without doing exercise, right? I mean, your body would not be the same, but you can, you don't have to go to gym, you don't have to run, you don't have to, do anything, and you will live, but you won't have the healthy lifestyle that somebody who exercises on a regular basis or irregular basis. It's not needed for survival, but you can
Mm-hmm.
have an enhanced life if you practice some sort of meditation.
That's good to know.
Is
Well,
that
would
fair
go on.
analogy? I mean,
That's pretty fair enough. I mean, I agree with what you're saying. If you want to live a better life, you will exercise, you meditate, so your body feels grounded and you feel
right.
more energized, and you're living a healthier, more productive life.
Yeah, no, that's a good way to put it.
Now, can meditation help with anxiety? I mean, that's the big one because a lot of people I know have anxiety and certain things don't help, but can meditation be one of those things that can help them?
So the answer is short answer is yes. But when you are having an anxiety attack and you try to do meditation, that may not be the best time to do it. That may be a time better to take a pill and feel better and then do it.
Mm-hmm.
So timing is important. I think meditation has a big role and big, it can be very helpful. Some sort of meditation, some sort of, program that, affects body, mind, and the flame. And, but yeah, in acute situation, it may not be the best thing to do.
All right.
It may,
And
it can be done, but it may not have the effect that you close your eyes and your anxiety is still working on you. It's just um, yeah, that's interesting you asked that because we had a discussion recently, as of yesterday, with someone who is an expert in anxiety management, and they have several programs, and they want to work with Relaxx to see if their methodology, which is mind body based, can
mm-hmm.
be taken down into the um, flame area so that we can develop a combined program on that.
Interesting. Now, can meditation is meditation, would you say, helpful for those who are dealing with stress?
Definitely, definitely. I mean, that's the biggest um, issue. The stress or the burnout that happens, and it happens in physician community as well. There is about 50% rate of burnout in doctors, and probably similar numbers in other organizations. And the whole, idea, and when I was giving a talk about, is that 50% don't burn out. What are their characteristics? Some people never burn out. So what do they have? And that's where I think the concept of flame, they are born with a different level of flame. And can other people also bring their flame up to a level where they don't burn out or they don't have stress? So, but I think practice of intermittent silence, mindfulness, meditation um, can be very helpful. We are trying to do that, introduce the intermittent silence, and maybe not 10 minutes, 5 minutes in school kids, because if they get the habit of spending that 5 minutes every day with themselves, give their brain some rest, then it can be very helpful. I mean, there is a lot of things we can talk about, and I don't know how long you wanted to talk, and how much we want to put, compress in this one episode. But one of the things of intermittent silence, once you create that space, you
Mm-hmm.
become familiar with your inner space or inner universe. Then you can do, I can give one of the concept that we are having is you can create an inner theater.
Mm.
And that inner theater is a theater that you create. You control what goes on there. You control the characters. And it's like some people say visualize the sale, in the sales business, marketing business. And in athletic world also they say visualize your race. So you can have the whole arena. If you're playing soccer, you can have the soccer field in your inner theater, and you can have the whole game acted out before you go to play. And it's interesting that the brain doesn't differentiate between real game and a virtual inner theater. So you can really have a rehearsed everything that you can go and act out. Most of the time, 80% of the things will turn out the way you have rehearsed. And this can be a big help for imaginative brain of young kids.
Yeah, it is interesting. I've always thought that if you'd quiet the kids' minds down in school and let them sit down and sit in quiet, maybe they'd be able to focus better on their work and, like you said, create their own theater to go over things and rehearse. Even with, you think it would help even adults with like sports?
Yeah. So these are things we are working on. This is not yet in the app, but we'll be adding some of these concepts there, and see if people like it.
Have you seen any success rate in your app? Like how many downloads you've gotten?
Well, we just launched it, and I think we are trying to improve it, which will be mid-February or March. We will be launching our improved version, and then we will push. I mean, so far we just created this and have not done much with it. But I've been doing these, interviews like people with like you. But um, we'll see how successful we are. Now we are doing it like everyone does in this world, right? I mean, do it professionally.
Mm-hmm.
So we just started and working on it.
Well, I just have to say, congratulations on your app, and I wish you
No,
much
thank you.
success with it. And I would love to have you back more to talk after you updated your app and talk more about it.
Yeah, and there is a book coming out as well, which is related on intermittent silence, mindfulness, and meditation.
Now look,
So it will all happen in the next few months, and
okay.
yeah.
Well, thank you for coming on my show, and let's keep in touch with each other, and I'll look out for your book.
Now, please do, and now that you have had an app, feel free to give us a review there, and you know feedback. You can send directly to me as well. Any things you want to see improved or changed.
All right.